Hey everyone, Joey C here for What the Flock Hand Died. I'm going to demonstrate my yarn warping board here for gradient yarns for self-striping and or very long skein runs. I'm going to do a series of videos on this, and I have a PDF file of the construction, the cost, and setup of the PVC frame I have here. And so just a quick overview. It's basically all 1-inch PVC piping. The pegs are 6 inches. Then you have a bunch of T-bars, 4 elbows, 2 15.5 pieces. The little pieces in between are 2.5 inches. And then I have 2 outer rims or edges on the frame, and then 1 inner. The 2 outers are before warping, or I should say before dyeing warp, and the inner one is after dyeing when your yarn dries, because obviously it shrinks a little, and it's adjustable, and for easy on and off. So now I'm going to demonstrate the mini skein method, and I'm going to show you how to warp it, and then how to tie your mini skeins. And alright, so let's get started. So first you want to get your cake of yarn. I'm using a superwash merino worsted weight that's 220 yards. There's some math involved if you want to get like really technical. The space between my pegs here is 22 inches. So when you do one full thing, that's about 44 inches. So when I did all the math between how many yards in the skein I had to how many sections I'll have, which will be 6, that comes to about, for this worsted weight yarn, it's 30 wraps per peg. So I will be doing 6 sections to give me a 6 color gradient on my yarn. And then when I do the self-striping, I'll explain what the same thing. If you're using the same yarn, you'll want to do the 30, but you may want to break it into like 5 wraps across each thing, and then 5 wraps back and 4, you know what I mean? So anyway, let's get started on this. So first you want to do a slip knot, a fairly large one, and this will hook to your first peg. I'll start my peg up here, and then it doesn't really matter what direction you go in. You can go around this way first, or you could go around this way. Either way, you just want to make sure that you're doing your wraps. Since I just have it started this way, I will just start wrapping, and make sure you count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 10 wraps. 11, 12, 14. There's 20 wraps. Alright, so there's 30. Also, you want to wrap loosely, because obviously since this is adjustable, the tighter you wrap, it'll bend in, and you don't want that. I mean, you can obviously start pulling out, but then that'll stretch your yarn, and you don't want that. So I have 30 wraps on here. Now, when you're on this end right here, to go to the next peg, you want to wrap around it so it locks onto that peg, and then wrap around the next peg. So you're doing a circle, and then you want to start doing your next count. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so there's 10 on there. I'm going to stop here and just demonstrate how to tie and where to tie. And then go over some things after that. So you want to get, I'm using just a regular worsted wool yarn. You can use anything. You can use acrylic yarn, something that's like cheap and throwaway, because you know this is just basically going to be cut and recut and thrown away. So these are where your ties are going to go for each mini skein. Alright, so you want to make sure that it's fully separated. Get your hand in there. You want to do a figure 8. Nah, I do a double twist in my figure 8s. Alright, so this is going to be your middle tie right here. Now when you tie the end, this top end will get one long tie, and you're not going to do a figure 8, you're just going to do a reach through. And if you have some kind of like hook, or if you can get in there, that's great. I just do a basic loop because you're going to need these a little longer for after when you dye, you can know where the tops are. Alright. So that's one single tie on the far end that doesn't have the joins. Alright, now down here, on this one you're only going to have one wraparound that connects, but you're going to want to basically make sure that your wraparound yarns are twisted in a figure 8 and locked in there, and this will help with separating this end later on after dyeing and setting up it back on the skein here. And on your other ones, you're gonna, except the first and last one, are only gonna have one join. The other two will have a bottom from your previous mini skein, and then a top one from your closing off the skein to the next one. And what you'll want to do basically down here is to make sure that you pull up that one and you have the top one locked in there. Do your figure 8, and then there's going to be the fourth tie, which will be and the good thing about these PVCs is that when they get wonky, you can just press down and it'll refix itself. And then you'll want to do the same type of tie you did on the end, which is just the big loop with a knot on this end, and that's just for straightening out later on. And then that's basically it for the mini skeins. And I don't tie it off right away. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. But you want to make sure that you finish all of them, you have it tied off. And same thing when you get to the very end, like how I did the slip knot at the front, you want a slip knot at the end, and you want to make sure that slip knot is caught in your tie. Like you want to go through the actual slip knot loop and catch that in the tie. This way the yarn is secured. Otherwise you'll lose it, you'll get tangles. And I also suggest that after dyeing, please dry it. Don't throw it back on the loom wet, because it's just asking for so like I was saying before it stopped, you want to stick your yarn back on dry, because if you stick it on wet, even though it's tied really tightly, you're just asking for knots. So yeah, just make sure it's dry. And after you're done, you can press in your sides and pull the yarn off, and that's basically it.